Hey guys, Steve here with Utah Outdoor Adventures. Hope everybody's doing alright. It's a beautiful spring day. It snowed quite heavily, 6 to 8 inches here near my house in the Ogden area of Utah. Heavy winds knocked a bunch of tree branches out of my trees. Obviously that's where tree branches come from, isn't it? Pretty severe storm for mid-April. So hopefully that's the last of winter, because I'm about done. It's kind of hard to get out when it's stormy like that, but right now it's blue skies, beautiful weather, and a good day for Do-It-Yourself Tuesday mixed with Thrift Store Thursday. I recently had some problems, technical difficulties uploading videos, so I apologize for that. The last video I uploaded was a combination of a hike and a gear test of the Coleman rain suit and Frog Togs rain suit. So hopefully you've seen that. And since I combined those two ideas, I figured this week, because it's already Thursday, I would go ahead and combine Thrift Store Thursday with Do-It-Yourself Tuesday and cover all my bases. So this week's find at the thrift store isn't the most exciting thing ever, but it is kind of cool. I didn't actually save a ton of money on this. This is a package of plastic storage containers labeled as Busy Kids, Kids Camp, recommendations of decorating them and doing crafty things with them. As you can see, if you've ever had M&M minis, they are that's all they are, is M&M minis containers, unused of course. This was 99 cents at the thrift store, but I didn't save a whole lot because wherever it came from, probably a craft store, it was $1, if you can see up there in the corner. So I saved a whole penny. But what I'm thinking is, what kinds of uses as far as backpacking and camping go we can use this for. You can make a first aid kit, you can make a tackle box, a mini tackle box, you can store medications in this. The possibilities are endless. Okay, as you can see, here's my setup. I have some honey here, some salt, some pepper, some neosporin back here. We're gonna make a delicious dessert with all of these. I'm just kidding. We're not going to make any kind of dessert with those. But a couple of syringes. One has honey in it. One has neosporin in it. I've got some drinking straws, some scissors, a lighter, a measuring cup, Bob Jr. of course, and a Sharpie to write with. And here's what we're going to make today. Let me put them in my hand here for you to see a little better. These are pre-sealed spices, pepper, salt, and then I've got a honey packet and a neosporin packet to go in my first aid kit. What I've done is I've trimmed these straws and melted the ends, and it contains all of these. Very lightweight, easy to carry in your pack or when you're camping, whatever you want to do. So let's get started on that, and I'll show you how this is done. Okay, so the first thing we want to do, we need a good multi-tool as well. I don't know if I mentioned that, but this, or at least a pair of pliers. That's the main part that you're going to be using with this. But the first thing we're going to do is cut these straws into little, about 2-inch strips. Just kind of guesstimate it. Doesn't have to be perfect. Whoop. I'm going to cut the little flexible part off because we don't really need that. In fact, you can use straws from like McDonald's. The big kind of fat drinking straws would hold more and work a lot better than these flexible ones. Sorry, I had to pick that up. So we cut these into little pieces. Let me cut one more just for so I can show you how each of these was done. Whoa! Alright, you can also use an entire one for like the honey, because you'll you'll tend to use a lot more honey than just a little tiny tube here. At least I do. So we'll just get these out of the way. Okay, so first of all, we're going to take this, we're going to clamp just below the end of the straw so that there's a little bit of it sticking out. Then we're going to take our lighter and just heat it up, melt it a little, and before it has a chance to cool, slide it back a bit and pinch it with those pliers. And here you can see we have a nice seal on the bottom. Now if you're not careful and you don't seal this well enough, especially with the honey, you're gonna have a big mess on your hands. I know this because I practiced this before I made the video and it leaked. So hopefully this doesn't leak. But we're gonna start with just something simple. We're gonna start with the salt. So we'll take the salt. We're gonna just pour what we might use. Well, a little more than we'll use, obviously. And then we're gonna take this and just kind of scoop it up into the straw till it's nice and full. Unfortunately, they don't make tiny funnels for something like this. Now you don't want to fill it all the way to the end because we're gonna have to melt that end. So I'll leave a little bit of a gap at the top, and we do the same thing with the end. Pinch, light, and pinch again. Really squeeze it. And there we have it. Completely enclosed salt to take anywhere you want. And then what I usually do is label it with a Sharpie that has the small end on it. You can't use the fat end, it just doesn't work as well. My handwriting is really crappy on those little ones I already made because it's really hard to write on these, but that way you don't get them mixed up. It's kind of hard to tell what's in them. So perfectly self-contained. Let's move on to pepper. So next we're going to just pop some pepper in here. Of course, be careful not to get it up your nose while you're doing this. People always joke about pepper, whoops, we'll just lay those down. People always joke about pepper making you sneeze, but it actually burns really bad if you've ever got it up your nose. So same deal, squeeze, light, melt, and squeeze. Okay, and the same way, this is the same as the salt. We just dip it in, kind of shake it down in there until it's nice and full, or almost full. And squeeze, clean that off a little. Melt. And squeeze. And there we have it. Our pepper is all self-contained. So there's those two. Now we get a little tricky when we move on to the honey. What I did, I just have this for demonstration purposes. I unscrewed this lid and I took this syringe that you could probably get at any drugstore, any pharmacy, for oral use only, so don't stick it anywhere else, you know. So this was left over from one of my kids had an antibiotic a while back. It's been run through the dishwasher, sterilized. I also have a smaller one here that's ideal for the Neosporin. So I drew the honey up into this. I drew a teaspoon up into it. I don't know how much one of these straws holds, but for the sake of demonstration we're going to use a large straw, even though we can put it in the smaller one. What I found is just drawing it up was messy. I've washed it off. You missed all the fun parts, so don't expect this to be a neat, clean job. It's not going to be. It made a mess. So we're going to take the entire straw here. Maybe what we'll do is we'll just cut it off right here where it bends, where the flexible part is. So we're gonna take this lid off and just draw a bunch of honey up into it. You have to pull and hold and just wait for it to fill. And there are my kids again. Okay, now I'm going to go wash this off so it doesn't make a huge mess all over the place. So here we are with it all rinsed off, nice and neat. Let's put the lid back on this so I don't attract any insects or anything. So before we seal the ends, the mistake I made when I was practicing this is I sealed the end and then filled it up. You'll probably see the outtake at the end of this. And all it did was push air right back up the tube, and the honey overflowed and ran down the straw. So we need airflow all the way through. We just don't need it to come out the other end. So we're going to go ahead and fill this and pay attention to where the honey's going. And it will fill it a lot easier because of the air it's able to push out of the end of the straw. If you seal the other end and then try this, well, you'll see at the end of this video what a mess I made trying it that way. Okay, almost full but not quite. Same rule. Now, the tricky part, and it's gonna probably get messy. Okay. Now we have to kind of hold it up like this so we don't drip out the other end. I have a little wipe here to get the honey off. Grab my lighter, heat, and pinch. So that end is sealed, hopefully. And then pinch this. Same deal, kind of wipe off the honey. We want to give it a little bit of leeway here. Heat. And pinch. There we go. See, our honey's starting to ooze out this end. So I made that mistake last time where I didn't quite melt it enough. We'll fix that real quick. Okay, so there's our honey. Plenty for probably a cup of tea or something when you're out in the middle of nowhere. So we'll put that over here with these. And finally, we are going to move on to the Neosporin. I took the plunger out and squeezed that the end of this fit nicely into this, and I just squeezed enough in there and then pushed it to the end. They do make these with kind of a little spout like this, and it would be way easier if you could find that kind of antibiotic with that kind of spout on it, I mean. So, same deal with the Neosporin as the honey. We don't want it coming back at us, so we'll just squeeze it in there. Letting some of the air out and paying attention to where the end is. Now this even gets more tricky than the honey did because Neosporin is made with petroleum jelly. It's kind of sizzling, but not too bad. I actually made a mistake when I made... I was doing an experiment with some petroleum jelly once, and unfortunately the whole thing caught on fire. So be wise when you're using anything with Vaseline, petroleum jelly type stuff in it. There we go. That's nice and sealed. This likely wouldn't do much, but if you're using larger amounts, I know a lot of people, same thing, comes out, wipe it off. A lot of people use cotton balls with Vaseline as fire starters, that kind of thing. So Whenever you're messing with it, make sure you're being careful not to burn yourself. And there we have it. There's the Neosporin sealed. You can use one of these for a first aid kit. Very simple. Let's take one out. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll open it. How you pack it is going to be important. We'll stuff the rubber gloves down in the bottom. There we go. Couple of Band-Aids, maybe go around in a circle with them. Now this is, of course, if you're going really lightweight and don't need much for your trip. Maybe you're just fishing for the day or something, I don't know. And our moleskin for blisters. You know what? Let's cut this down. Blister size squares, and we can stuff a couple in there, and then we'll top it off with our Neosporin. Now the only other thing I have in here that probably won't fit well, just seal that lid, and there's our first aid kit, is the alcohol swabs. You can carry these separate, whatever, it may not fit in this. This is why I prefer the Altoids box, but it is one use for this if you want to use it that way. So there's an idea anyway. So there you have it, guys. Some cool things you can do with straws and a lighter. You can use your imagination. Anything small that you need to carry with you that will fit into a straw that you can seal up. It's a great way to do things. These little containers I got at the thrift store. Use your imagination again. This could be a mini tackle box like I showed you. It could be a first aid kit. Kind of a crappy one that I made, but you could probably improve on this anyway, and that's really the point, is to give you ideas, not say I'm some kind of expert on what to do with all this stuff. Anyway, I just come up with these ideas, and I see other videos, and I think that they're worth sharing. And so maybe you have some comments or suggestions on what these can also be used for in an outdoorsy way. I would love to hear them. Anyway, that's it for this week with Thrift Store Thursday and Do It Yourself Tuesday. Sorry they're late and I'm way behind, but I just couldn't get my router to work on my computer, to be honest, and it was talking 6 days to upload a 30-minute video, but finally it came around and started working. So we're just playing catch up right now. I hope this video has been helpful. I hope you'll feel free to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and look for me on Facebook, Utah Outdoor Adventures with Stephen Grames, and we'll see you next time, hopefully on time this time. Thanks for joining me, and thank you so much for watching.
Okay, so here's our basic setup. These I just have here for demonstration purposes. I have honey, I have salt, I have pepper. I also have some Neosporin. We're going to make a delicious dessert with all... No, I'm just kidding, we're not. Knocking everything over. Fuck. Let's start over. And there are the kids knocking at the door, even though I said, hey, go do something. I'm making a video for a few minutes. Alright. Be right back. Toy watering can is right here. Yay. Okay. Alright.
Put it in there and really push. I don't know if you can see it filling, but there's our mess. That's what I was afraid of.